right. Welcome to Gen X Rated Saturday edition. How we doing, Billy?
Pretty good. It's Memorial Day weekend.
It's exciting.
Yeah, so it's nice doing a little house sitting outside today with my buddy Gimli.
Could tell. It looks like a nice place you're at.
It's a pretty nice place.
We'll leave it at that.
We'll leave it at that. It's not mine.
Whatever. Too much to heat and cool for you, my friend. Okay.
It would be quite a bit.
Well, it's nice. Memorial Day weekend. No rain as of yet. That's supposed to come, and it feels almost fall-like. It's in the 60s, I think.
It is, yeah. It's nice though. It's not humid. Looks like the sun's trying to come out here.
We did have some sunshine. No heavy tornado winds, though we may get some storms on Monday afternoon and evening. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. It's been nice having a break from that, though.
Absolutely. And shout out to all these tree crews and people in their communities getting together, because the streets have been a lot better. A lot of these giant trees are down. Those guys have worked really hard, guys and gals, but it's been impressive.
And yeah, and FEMA actually showed up. Now, they didn't really do anything. Well, we'll get back to you.
FEMA came to town based on Holly, I would assume. They are assessing the situation. It's confusing, though, because FEMA did get the approval for some funding for St. Louis. So people are like, oh, wow, it's working. That was something that was asked for the March 13th and 14th storms in St. Louis.
Yeah, okay.
So they got approval for that. That was 2 months ago. The people that are hurting now, totally different story. Trump is waiting on, I want to say there's 28 at least requests from FEMA that he's not weighing just yet. So yes, FEMA is in town. FEMA is considering for this, but these are all past things that are sitting. So I guess we're lucky.
It's insane, though. It's absolutely insane. I mean, that's what the money is for. And, because Big Balls and Elon decided, hey, you know what? We don't really need this agency. Let's get rid of it. Now, if you want anything done, I guess you have to pay tribute to Trump.
That's exactly right.
Give him the reach around, cup the balls, and shine the knob. It just makes no sense to me. It's disgusting.
Well, Sarah Huckabee did that, and it still didn't get her any funding.
Still didn't work.
Yeah. So I guess it depends who you are, whether you're going to get it. But to have that many cases that he's waiting to review is a little bit ridiculous. That's just saying we don't care. We already talked about North Carolina is not getting their funding. So that can happen. And again, the discrepancy is between the legislators, allocate this money, but then the executive branch is stepping in and saying no, which isn't how it works. The money's already allocated. It's supposed to go out. You don't get to say no and then put it in your pocket.
Yeah. I mean, when is somebody going to stand up to this guy? You can't just keep rolling over. The networks are doing it. Amazon did it because why? And I saw an interesting thing where Jon Stewart said, basically, they're just paying protection money and you're getting nothing for it. You're still at this guy's whim. So why would you just back down and roll over? It makes no sense.
Well, he takes the attack off you. But that's not forever. So if you get into his sites again, you got a problem, but he will consider that you paid him earlier.
Maybe, but you know what? Like you said, till the next time, it's like giving your lunch money to a bully. Yeah, you might not get an ass whooping today, but you know what? He's going to come back for that lunch money tomorrow and the next day and every day until you stand up and punch him in the face or take another beating. But at least maybe then he goes away.
Well, and you'd say maybe all the media could get together and would be stronger together. But again, you have a lot of right-wing billionaire influence in these media outlets. I mean, CNN bought by a billionaire. Look what happened to Tapper. Not that he was ever a great journalist, but he sold his soul so he could keep a job. Fox, obviously, with the Murdochs. You have the Washington Post. You have the LA Times. I mean, where are you going with this, right?
Yeah, it's so disturbing. And, I always say this, man, you're already a billionaire. You're already a bully. You're a bit of a bully yourself. You didn't get that money by being a great guy.
For sure.
Probably not. That's kind of a blanket statement. But anyway, you already have resources. Why would you roll over? Why? When you can fight, when you can stand up and at least show some spine, show some sack.
Well, we talked about this before. If you like how things are, if it allows you to continue to bring in all this money, you don't want change. You'll put up with it. You'll give a little bit.
And again, maybe there's something wrong with the way my mind works, but if you've already got a huge stack of money, doesn't matter. And with some of these people, that stack is so big, it's never going to go away because, money keeps earning money, right?
For sure.
So what do you care? Why does that stack have to be bigger? Who cares? It's
I
never
just
going to go away. I'm always going to have this stack. I'd rather have my self-respect and know that I did the right thing. But these people apparently not.
Yeah, I don't think that's even in their conscience, but
No.
we won't judge per se, but it is extremely disappointing, and it just shows a lot of weakness to the common folk.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, and look at Kentucky. You showed me the footage of that tornado that rolled through that city last night.
Yeah, huge devastation, but there's no money there, so nobody cares.
It looked like a movie.
I know.
It was horrifying. I mean, a tornado literally ripped through a city.
Yeah, I mean, all these southern states are having issues. Missouri, Kentucky, Kansas,
North Carolina.
Arkansas. Yeah, I mean, we're just not really doing anything about that, and we won't go off on the climate change today, but clearly, the climate is changing.
Yeah, well, and I also wanted to mention, thanks to Trump and Elon, that small plane crash outside of San Diego the other day. The warning system at that airport, it was a smaller airport, that updates pilots on weather conditions, wasn't working.
We didn't pay the subscription.
FAA cuts, wasn't working. So they didn't know. They're coming in early in the morning. The airport is fogged in. They don't know. The runway lights are not on. So he's trying to make a blind approach, ends up, crashing into a neighborhood.
That's pretty horrific. I think, what, 15 homes?
Yeah, all 6 people on board, a drummer, a music executive, and they both, in their 40s, seem like good dudes.
Sure.
2 young ladies that work for the record company or for his agent, for the agent's agency. I mean, for what? So you can say, look, President Trump, we saved $10 by making this cut.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Turn off the lights when you leave.
Yeah, so avoidable and unnecessary. And how do these people sleep at night?
They quite comfortably on a sack of money, I think.
Yeah.
So to your point about the bullying, we're going to jump to Harvard real quick. There's a rumor that Harvard didn't take Barron. That's part of why Trump is so upset. Maybe that is so. I can't dispute the fact that he's not a petty man. And maybe this would be something he would rage on.
He's extremely petty. Give him something to rage on and he'll rage. Look at that face.
We can't look at it for too long. It blinds me after a while.
Ugh.
So he's on his retribution tour with Harvard. We all saw about how he wasn't going to allow international students, which is just insane. He was going after their tax exemption status, which to me is horrendous. When you're being lectured by Besant and he's talking about the elites of Harvard, you're worth over $550 million. Who are you casting stones at?
Yeah.
You can't even talk straight because you don't know common words because you're just you're just out of touch with the average person. I'm gonna stay nice on this. It was banned immediately by a judge for not allowing them to accept international students. It put into disarray and chaos the students that are there. Judge said this was a blatant violation of the Constitution, but Trump doesn't care. Once it's out there, it's just out there. This is his thing. Who else did me wrong? I'm coming for you too, right?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
It is unbelievable.
So he's just kind of building his power structure. The U.S. National Security Council, which has hundreds of people that work at the White House, they just cut that in half. Now, instead of 300 people, you have 150 people. They're mainly his trusted advisors. And basically, it's all under White House control. So what they used to do was these advisors would help formulate the policies, and they were out of the Pentagon, they were out of various parts of the government, but they worked out of the White House. Now they're just going to implement the ideas that Trump holds. So you cut half the staff. We don't need to analyze. We don't need to help formulate. We don't need a plan. Whatever he says, we're doing. And that's kind of where we are. The interesting part to me was, and this is all through like the National Security Council, which, if you recall, the person that took the fall for Signalgate was Tim Waltz, right? Mm-hmm. He was their advisor. Now Rubio has a dual role. Part of what Waltz wanted to do and was pushing for, and this is kind of interesting, he wanted huge sanctions on Russia if they wouldn't come to the table, if they wouldn't agree to some kind of ceasefire. He wanted to stick it to them. Well, somebody's a huge fan of Russia. Maybe that wasn't the best. So they know Signalgate's not going to come rolling down till October because they put it in that bill that had already passed that they couldn't investigate Hegseth or the Secretary of Defense until October. I mean, this guy took the fall for Signal, right? Oh, granted, he was on his phone during the cabinet meeting. Who wouldn't be? Boring as heck. The stroke fest continues. So I don't blame him, but I do find it, again, this is to their usefulness. Russia's our friend. We hate the EU. Why do we hate the EU? Why did we put 50% tariffs on the EU yesterday? Well, they made a deal with Greenland for mineral rights, European Union. So Trump's like, well, I was just about to invade them. So sanctions or, tariffs for you because they're working so well.
Yeah, it's so unbelievable. It's just so fucked up and un-American, unconstitutional. And the whole Republican Party is A-okay with this.
They are.
Fucking people. I mean, it made me sick seeing those idiots that passed this bill in the middle of the night actually taking a picture and posing and congratulating them.
Oh, I didn't see prayer this time.
No, just them all thumbs up and look what we did. You mother. It's so maddening.
And let's take a look at some of the things that they did. First of all, in that bill, and you talked about this yesterday, I'm not going to move away from this. They're restricting the federal court's authority to hold officials in contempt of court if they're in violation. So when Trump's minions are in contempt, they can ignore it because, hey, it's in the bill.
Yeah. How do you get to that? That's more like a law.
Yes.
How do you get to just put that in a bill? You know what? And if Trump decides to commit murder, that's okay too. I mean, that
was already in the bill.
None of this makes any sense, but please.
So all I wanted to say was, so this big, beautiful bill that they love so much, let's just look at one department. Let's look at the Department of Veteran Affairs. You have 170 VA hospitals. We know several people that work in the VA. They do great work. They have 1,300 outpatient clinics that also serve 9 million military veterans. You'd think that would be a great thing. It seems like they have a lot of outpatient facilities. They have some new hospitals that I'm aware of. Instead, they've canceled the contracts with existing companies within the VA. They're on a hiring freeze. They're forcing resignations, layoffs, all through Doge. And what's that lead to for the veterans? We love our veterans. We think they're so amazing. Well, there's 2,300 at one hospital. There's 2,300 unread radiology exams because, what's the hurry, right? A tumor's only getting a little bigger, a little bit of time. They're canceling rheumatoid appointments for veterans. I mean, we're kind of shitting all over them. And the Veterans Administration and the veteran hospitals were strictly designed to take care of those that sacrifice for us. And now we're just like trimming that. They already made their commitment. They've maybe lost limbs. They maybe have PTSD. Fill in the blank. And now we're just kind of turning our back on them, but raising the flag at the same time.
Oh, yeah. Trump doesn't care. I mean, he's already called veterans suckers and losers. He's already offended John McCain. Oh, I like, war heroes that don't get captured. I mean,
so dickish.
He has no respect. He does not give a shit. He literally doesn't. And how people voted for this, how people that are in the military voted for this. How anybody that has, you know, a family member, somebody that served would vote for this person. It's unbelievable.
But to your point, it goes back to the cult. You have to believe in it. I know several military people that are close to me, as far as um, people I know, let's just say, and they're all in, and they're in the military. They're lifelongers. But I also know lifelongers are like, hey, this is ridiculous. This guy's a criminal. So
Yeah.
clearly they're not saying that when they're at work, but it's hard to avoid if you're a thinking person.
Yeah.
I did want to talk about more of his cuts that seem to be things that would be important to us. The CVE, it's the Office of Countering Violent Extremism, and we've talked about this in the past, many months ago, about white supremacists, how it started under Obama. They were investigating these guys in our military. Well, that's all gone. We're not interested in looking into any of that, any of the white supremacist stuff. Who needs it? You're looking at 100 different offices, 700 jobs. We're just not interested in domestic extremism. But keeping in mind, most of that is white people keeping down brown people through extreme violence. But that's
maybe
okay.
coming after white people too. Who knows? I mean, these fools are loose on the street with their, you know, with their armored vests and their body armor, and they're all, you know, weaponized in their face coverings. And, you know, dollars to donuts, those are not law enforcement. Those
For
are
sure.
boys and other, you know, assorted
Wannabes.
racists and nationalists and Christian nationalists, and just all out there giving a free ride. Rough up anybody you want. Rough them up.
Makes me think of Jenga when you say that. Those guys trying to look through the eye holes on their sheets.
Yeah.
My wife stayed up all night making these things. I'm going home.
Screw you guys. I'm going home.
I mean, there's a bunch of clowns in here. I just jumped back to the clown show of let's talk about Alcatraz real quick. I mean, they literally sent people out there. They have engineers. They're excited. This thing was closed in 1963. It was too expensive. There was limited space. You know who closed it? RFK Sr. closed it. He was the Attorney General at the time, 1963. So they have engineers out here. They're looking at the site. They're excited about the possibilities. Meanwhile, anybody that's worked there says it'd be impossible how much money it would take to do this. Are you guys insane? It was too small. Here's an inside shot. I mean, how many people are you putting there? The weird part is, and there is a weird part to this, this administration's got a warm, fuzzy feeling for it. They compared it to things like Fenway Park, Wrigley Field, Lambeau Field. These are historical venues. It's Alcatraz, people. Seriously?
Seriously, you're hung up on some clown from the 60s, man. I mean, it's ridiculous. It makes no sense just because Peepaw stayed up late one night and watched a Clint Eastwood movie.
And did you hear about those three that escaped? I finally listened to a podcast. They found them. So everybody thought they escaped. Everybody thought they were eaten by sharks. They found this, that, and the other. They actually were able to use like raincoats and stuff that they had, made a rubber bladder, and they put themselves into a box. They were at the bottom of the sea. They knew they couldn't come up right away. One guy even had written a little diary in there. And eventually they found the box and they were in it. Through DNA, it was these three guys. Obviously, the one guy leaving somewhat of a diary in there. They made the escape. They were never found, but then they couldn't get to the surface.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
So they were basically entombed. And they did a heck of a job getting out there. I mean, if you got some time, they used it wisely in jail.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was kind of crazy.
Andy Dufresne would have been proud, except they didn't stick the landing. But what are you going to do?
It's so true. He had a better plan than they did.
He did. But he had to crawl through a mile of shit.
But he came out smelling like a rose on the other end.
Yeah.
I was going to put Yelling Man up again. Let's see if this is a better picture of old Yeller. Yeah, that's always a funny face. Today, and it's the 5-year anniversary of Trump doing the commencement. the commencement address at West Point. He did it 5 years ago, if you recall, and he couldn't really get down the steps.
Mm-hmm.
He was walking very slowly, and he took a lot of heat for that. And then, of course, they said Biden was old and demented and a liar. So that went away pretty quickly. But I thought it was interesting because these are our next generation of war heroes, or however you want to look at West Point. I mean, they have a proud tradition. It's pretty amazing. But he went out there with his red hat on because, of course, what else is he known for?
Mm-hmm.
And he did start the address by congratulating them. You're going to do great things. And then it went off the rails. Then he started talking about, he congratulated them and then he turned to himself.
Of course.
DEI. He talked about golf. He talked about Al Capone. Like these people care, right? I mean, this is like their big day. You've put in all this work. This is all about you. This is your day.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, he talked about diversity and equity. He liberated the troops from division and wasting their time with political training and no more CRT, that critical race theory. Meanwhile, I mean, you act like you're talking to a completely white crowd out there and probably pretty close to it. But the point is, you're acting like a jerk, and no transgender for anybody. I mean, he hit all the highlights. He pat himself on the back for immigration crackdowns and the greatest election victory ever. It took over an hour. I mean,
unbelievable.
I will say that he made it to his golf course by noon, which was a relief to all the graduates. But my God, man. Why even come? You ruined their whole day. And maybe a handful, I'm sure the 20% thought it was amazing.
Oh yeah.
But they're already in the cult. Like, why is he such a narcissist? Why do we allow him to take us down the toilet with him? Like, go to Dubai, go to Qatar, go to Saudi Arabia, do your thing.
Go away.
Exactly.
But yeah, well, Daddy didn't love him.
And now we all suffer.
Yeah, apparently. I mean, it's so fucked up.
And I will say this guy, KK Caroline, kind of slipped up when she said that Trump was going to be on his time doing this crypto grift. They did have the presidential seal down at Mar-a-Lago doing it. He asked if all the guys saw the helicopter outside. It's not great windows in here, but you guys see that? I mean, it's like your dad talking to a 5-year-old. Did you guys see the fire trucks out there? Whoa, big trucks, and maybe a backhoe.
Whoa.
Embarrassing. And most of them were foreign investors, a lot of Asian people. They paid a ton of money. They got surf and turf. Actually, I think it was chicken and beef. Looked like a typical, it was on Mar-a-Lago plates, but it looked like a typical hotel meal.
And not a 5-star
crappy steak. No. The couple mashed potatoes and some carrots.
Well, they probably got that chicken at a cut rate price because bird flu.
Well, that could be.
We killed him before the bird flu could kill him. So here you go, half off.
Honestly, I couldn't even make out what the white disc-shaped thing was. I assumed it was chicken. The meat looked like the size of your fist. I'm just saying, for $1 million, I would have liked, maybe some stone crab or maybe some Alaskan king crab or a giant fillet or something that looked like I would want to eat it.
Yeah, or maybe take that $1 million and actually invest it in something that might pay off.
Crypto, baby. It's all crypto.
It's Trump's crypto scam. I don't see anybody making money but Trump and his closest cronies. If you're paying $1 million to get in on it, everybody's already in on it. You know what I mean? The people that matter are already in. So when you look around the table and you can't find the sucker, you're the sucker.
Pump and dump.
Yep.
Pretty awesome.
That's Trump.
Those guys didn't seem to mind, and they lined up. And he's selling influence. I mean, that's clearly painfully obvious, and you'd have to be a fucking moron not to realize that.
Well, yeah. And here's the thing: you're paying $1 million to sit in this crowded thing, or maybe you're paying $5 million to get the one-on-one. Mm-hmm. Look how he fucks over his people. Yeah, he'll be your friend for a bit. Sarah Huckabee, she was all in. Kiss the ring, polish the. All in. And when her
to your point, though, she is the governor of Arkansas now, thanks to MAGA, and so her people aren't getting taken care of by the federal government. You think she really cares?
I don't know. I think I would still find it offensive in some way.
Probably a little bit, but I'm sure he smooths it over and tells her that she's hot and he's a hot guy.
I'm
I
a hot
mean,
guy.
how much would it take to have her not be mad at him? Maybe he just invites her to some function. Like, it's not about her constituents, is what I'm saying. Do you think her house is flooded? I don't think so.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sure not. Listen, why don't you come by the White House sometime and maybe mow my lawn? How about that?
Maybe watch Stephen Miller go at it with KK Carolina. It'd be fun.
Yeah,
I didn't say that, allegedly.
allegedly.
I'm going to bring up this guy because this is another topic, and it goes with what we've been talking about. This is RFK Jr. Yes, RFK Jr. And he had to give the talk about the MAHA Commission, which is Make America Healthy Again. I mean, these are some great names that they call things.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, what's Carrie Lake doing here? It's not her time to shine. Oh my God. All right, there he is. So RFK is really about himself, making Americans healthy again, which is really catchy and something you won't forget now that I've told you. But his whole thing is to look at making America healthy again. Chronic diseases in children are some things to look at. But the problem is that he's so focused on what he feels is the injustice, vaccinations. They didn't even take in like common issues that happen to teens and young kids. Take a guess. Firearms, accidents. I'm not saying murder. I'm just saying gun accidents. Happens to kids all the time. I went into dad's drawer and accidentally shot myself in the eye. Car crashes. It happens. I mean, why is teen insurance so expensive? Because they're shitty drivers. They're distracted. They have a lot going on. Let's take those aside. We won't even talk about smoking and alcohol abuse, which can sometimes happen at a very young age. I mean, shit, they want these kids impregnated at 13. So you better start smoking around 11.
Smoke up, Johnny.
If you want to be prepared for that.
Johnny and Janie.
So, his whole thing. So to that point, they've eliminated 2 smoking prevention offices at the CDC and the FDA, which is what, a gift to big tobacco?
Probably yeah.
Okay with that. Also eliminated the world-leading sexually transmitted infection laboratory because we probably already know the sexual diseases. I mean, don't get them. Have hot, steamy phone talk with some reporter.
Some rando.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, it's not like cheating, is it? His wife stayed with him anyway. So again, it all comes down to what RFK, what his focus is. Ultra processed food. We can all agree on that.
Right.
But some people have no choice in finding fresh food or the time to do it, and it's super expensive. Environmental chemical exposure. Sure, we get that. Mental health, over medication. These are all factors, and I can appreciate that. But they go through this whole thing, which is all geared to his thoughts and his feelings about what can change. There were no named authors on this. So it was a report that the president had to have, but you didn't name any authors. I mean, any kind of medical research paper, you have a list of authors, right?
Right, yeah. Everything is cited, and peer reviewed, of course.
Correct.
This guy's just winging it, man. He's just making it up. But again, he's got a giant worm in his head. He cut off a whale's head. He threw a dead bear in his car for nobody even knows why. So is anybody actually surprised?
Very true. It's a shame he has so much power, though.
I will say this. He doesn't even want the job.
I know. Let me put up the people that I should start with him. The one person that was named one of the advisors for Kennedy's presidential campaign was this gentleman here. His name is Kayleigh Means. That name might be familiar to you. He's a food lobbyist and a healthcare entrepreneur.
Oh, okay.
Which means he's selling snake oil and anything else you're willing to buy because you're a dope. We'll move on because you might recognize the person who's next to him because that is his sister. And she is the Surgeon General
nominee.
and her name is Casey Means. And look at this, the status list of 2025. I mean, that is Make America Healthy Again influencers, startup founders. I mean, they've made the list. It's impressive.
Whoa, that's so impressive. I mean, wow.
Now, and what is her take on things? Her take is that, there they are again. She blames sedentary lifestyle, which, yeah, you better get on the move. Sitting is a problem,
Mhm.
and poor diet. And that's where we stop.
Yeah. The
I
rest
can
of
appreciate both of those things,
Sure.
but that's not really telling the whole story or giving anybody any assistance to make change
it
for a
certainly
healthier
isn't.
lifestyle.
Yeah, no, but I've done my job.
Well, that's it. Hey, fatty, start walking, and
Yeah.
you eat poorly.
Yeah, and we're not going to help educate you on, making better food choices or making that food more available or affordable. We're not going
Affordable.
to bother with
Mhm.
that, or just tell you to move your ass. Get that big ass up and move it around. I mean, that's not helpful. That's
Well,
not even give a shit though.
and USAID used to, the farmers who are getting screwed too. And there's a lot of articles that we are not going to talk about today about them and their product, but that was another one. The farmers locally were directly working with schools to bring the students out. Now, this was during COVID, so it's not necessary anymore. But to me, it seemed like why? It seemed like a good thing that came out of the pandemic. Why?
Mhm.
Why end it? But these school children would go to the farms. They'd see the process. They'd be able to pick their fruits and vegetables, um, and kind of learn about that kind of experience of fresh food. You teach a young kid that, early on, it sticks with them and it's something they could strive for. If you
Right.
never inform them, it makes it pretty difficult to even be aware of it, let alone want to do it, right? I
Well,
mean,
yeah, and meanwhile, the little kids are sitting in front of TV shows on Saturday morning or any time of day, really, and just being bombarded by ads for just shit food, fruit
cheese
roll-ups
cereal.
wow, with 10% real fruit. Yeah, no.
That is pretty awesome.
Truth and the truth.
Yeah, no.
I mean, where are they going to take steps to, stop that flow of misinformation when you're selling this junk food to these kids? And, a lot of it is just garbage food. And a lot of these claims, even in supposedly healthy foods, are just that. They're just bogus claims. Fat free.
Yeah.
Eat all the cookies you want. They're fat free. Doesn't mean it's healthy, And I don't see any effort or any talk of any kind of effort being started, any initiative to educate people, to, especially the younger, the better. I mean, dude, we took health class in high school, right? And we learned the food pyramid. Well, that whole pyramid is bogus. Everything that we were taught, it's not quite right. But you get older and if you have the interest in it, you take the initiative and you educate yourself.
Yeah.
And again, thanks to influencers like our new Surgeon General, even that is hard because if you scroll through YouTube, any of this shit, it's so hard to find factual information. You've got people, touting all kinds of bullshit exercise routines and, you know, ridiculous diets and just stupid theories that maybe they made up or maybe they saw it somewhere else and they're going to try and sell it to you. So it's just ridiculous. And it's really discouraging that, the top surgeon, the top medical expert is just another influencer grifter.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, that's the whole game under this administration. I mean, they really just don't care. A couple examples, we did talk about FEMA, 17 disaster requests that are just going to sit there. It's been over a month on several of them. We just don't care about the average person.
Yeah.
The U.S. Education Department denied federal aid to Kentucky, even though they had $34 million in funds coming into their classrooms that were allocated by the legislation, halted. So you say you care about these red states, you say you care about children, but you're not putting your money where your mouth is. We see what they're doing with the Department of Education. It's a mess.
Yeah. Yeah. And the person running it is highly unqualified. Another DEI hire.
And it's funny because I was listening to, again, a podcast today, and they were talking about homeschooling. And this story came up, and this is still something that's in the courts. It was a mom and her and her husband, who was the stepdad to this girl. And as soon as she hit seventh grade, they said she was going to be homeschooled, and nobody ever checked on her again. So you in certain states, there's probably 12 states. You don't have to show them a curriculum. You don't have to do yearly testing. You don't have to do anything. They don't care. Pennsylvania, New York for homeschooling have very high uh, qualifications as to yearly reports, semesterly check-ins to know about these kids. My whole point is these dozen states that just let these kids go. It's up to their parents. Well, these parents kept her in a cage for several years. These parents then gave her like a bathroom to sit in, which was basically a bucket chained to the wall. And 7 years later, she was able to escape. A neighbor helped her get out. And this is a damaged person. But my point is, you have to have involvement with the Department of Education, your local community, your administrators here. You can't just leave these kids in the hands of their parents. And I'm not bashing parents. I'm just saying shit happens.
You're only as smart as your teacher.
And they weren't teaching her anything. They didn't care. She was being abused physically and sexually. And after 7 years, she's just going to be a mess. So this is another person that wasn't getting the help, and a very basic, fundamental thing that we should all have: some kind of education up to the age of 18.
Well, I hope the parents are doing time.
They're in jail now, yes, and they are. Their case hasn't come up. This literally is less than a year old.
I hope they never get out. What state was this in?
I believe it was in Ohio.
Huh.
I'd have to double check.
Shocker.
Yeah, really. Well, you remember that guy in Cleveland that kept 3 women that he just snatched off the street. But again, you can't turn your back on the youth of America, whether it's through education or through, their health, fill in the blank, and expect that we're going to live in this great society. Now, the people at the top don't really seem to care because their kids are being nannied through anyway.
Yeah.
But what about us?
In the private schools and elite universities. So, yeah, they don't care.
Sure.
And that's, those are the people they consider to be, the cream of the crop, the only people in society worth caring about, right?
Sure. But Trump said that there were people at Harvard that couldn't add 2 + 2.
Well, I think RFK Jr. was one of them, but
they're teaching remedial math. How could Harvard be teaching remedial math? Like, come on, man. Am I supposed to believe this?
Harvard 30% of America does. They'll believe anything that comes out of that guy's mouth. They're just a bunch of rubes.
A bunch of rubes. Yeah, that's
Hicks and rubes.
It's crazy. It's insane. To that point, I did see that Boeing made a deal. Those 737 MAX crashes, they will not be held liable to any of it. So they
how did they manage to get out of that?
I don't know. It's a great question. You had 200,000 Americans were arrested for possessing marijuana, but Boeing's CEO got a $62 million golden parachute after 346 passengers died on his watch. So it's weird. And it's all through the Justice Department. So, of course, it's a mess.
I wonder how much went into Trump's pockets on that.
He gets a little taste of everything. He is the boss.
Yeah, I'm sure Blondie pocketed a couple bucks.
We're not even going to go in her direction. She's aging rapidly. The wear and tear is clearly obvious, and it's really hard to be such a good liar every day.
Well, that rot in your soul just kind of leaches out.
I think it's going to be a problem for her eventually, but
I hope she dies in prison.
Well, they got to get there first, okay? None of these people are there yet.
Someday, let's hope.
But to your point with the funding and stuff, and not taking care of people, especially in the red districts, 742 rural hospitals are closing due to low reimbursement rates for Medicare and Medicaid. So you start cutting Medicare and Medicaid, and you're like, hey, no big deal. My hospital's down the street. Well, once the hospital's not being reimbursed by what they're supposed to be, and we did see yesterday that United Healthcare was paying these old folks' homes, however you want to call them, to not bring the patients to the hospital.
I saw that.
He's got a major leaking lesion. You know what? Roll him over.
Roll him over. He's fine.
We'll throw you a couple extra bucks. Just don't take him to the hospital. We don't want to pay for that.
Yeah.
So
it's unbelievable.
It's pretty insane. But it all ties together, and it all becomes about power, and it all becomes about the message. We don't even talk about measles anymore. Texas was so freaked out, West Texas, that they finally started taking the vaccination, and it's helped. They've had less cases, which is super.
But now they've run out of vaccine.
Yes, they have. You're right.
Mhm.
It takes 42 days of testing without a measles positive case to say that you've the outbreak has been tamped down. But now we have surges in Kansas and New Mexico and Oklahoma. We've got 1,024 cases, which is the second worst in history. And what is it? It's May 24th. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's kind of like we're all on our own. But it'd be nice if people had enough sense to kind of think for themselves and not just listen to the slogan "Make America Healthy, Make America Great, Make America White."
Yeah, but you know what? People have been fucking raised on 10-second sound bites.
That's true.
And again, man, I say this all the time, but they've been very good at playing the long game. And it's a shame. And I wish I had a time machine so we could go back and warn the people in power, like, hey, or the people like us, like, you know what? Don't believe this bullshit. You're being lied to, or you're not getting the whole truth.
But you're not believing it.
It just, maybe things would have been different had Jimmy Carter not had an election, taken from him.
Or Al Gore had an election taken from him.
Literally, yeah. But maybe Jimmy Carter, his presidency had Reagan not, put his thumb on the scales and paid off the Iranians to hold on to the hostages, and kind of like Nixon did ending Vietnam.
Correct.
Let's keep this going till after the election. I mean, just one party. I'm not saying both parties are good. I mean, I'm more of an independent now than Democrat because I'm disgusted. Sure. But at the same time, one party manages to pull these fucking dirty tricks. They manage to keep people like Roger Stone working for them. They manage to, get a pardon for a fucking criminal president, Nixon.
Yeah.
One party does that. So you can, a lot of people like to use the whataboutism, but let's face it. If Biden was still in office, even with prostate cancer and half his brain gone, FEMA would still be on the ground in North Carolina and North St. Louis and Kentucky. We wouldn't have a measles outbreak. The FAA would still be fully staffed. You wouldn't have that plane crash or any of the shit that's going on now.
Since January 21st, yeah.
So, yeah, you can say whatever you want to about whataboutism and making America great again. But, dude, every time these people are in office, they pull this shit.
And it's not just one person. That's the issue here. They want to take it as if it's one fucking person. It's not. It's an administration, or in this case, it's a regime, and it is one person. But under Biden and the other Democratic presidents, you have to have a great administration underneath you. I don't think we've ever seen a worse cabinet than what we've seen under Trump. It feels like it was by design. There's speculation that he wants all these people on a push down so that there's no threat to him, for one. And for two, they're going to do whatever he said. I mean, Linda McMahon's not qualified to be a Department of Education secretary, period.
She's not qualified to be a school bus driver.
Correct. That takes a lot of training, by the way. Mrs. P was an awesome bus driver, okay?
Yeah, no, I'm saying she's not even qualified for that. Maybe janitor, I don't know.
She ain't cleaning that up. And her kids grandkids will be going to private school anyway. So
yeah, so they don't care.
The point is, it's the big picture where he's setting this up where he is almost king-like. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah, and John Roberts helped him.
He did.
Big helper. That's a disgusting thing. I mean, and why can't you just backtrack and say, you know what, we're going to rethink that. Maybe this wasn't such a great idea. So let's get the justices together and see if we can maybe rethink that.
We're going to need the Justice League, okay? We're Superman when you need him because we need these people out of here.
Yeah, man.
I've had about enough.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So, well, you know what? On that note, why don't we pivot a little bit? Let's talk about a real Superman, your buddy, the Skeener.
Paul Skeens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Paul Skeens pitched a great game last night, and once again, he lost because the Pirates can't score more than 4 runs. Though, last night, they broke the streak. It did take extra innings. They scored six runs?
Yeah.
They won 6-5?
6-5, yeah.
Now, it did take putting a man on second base in extra innings, which is a rule. Yeah. But you take it. But it was interesting because there's been a lot of talk on the internet about Skeens being traded. Trade him. This guy's amazing. He's amazing for baseball. He should not have to suffer through the Pirates' BS. But his point was Skeens, when asked, when he was drafted, he said, "Hey, I'm coming there to win a World Series," and his plan really hasn't changed. He's not looking to go someplace else, and he feels like he's got to put in the time and effort to get it right where he is.
Yeah. Well, the
Great
crazy
attitude,
thing is, I mean, he's on a rookie deal, so he's making less than $1 million a year,
for sure,
which is insane because he's, the best pitcher in the game,
arguably.
dude. And he will get to free agency because the Pirates guarantee you will not pay him.
And why would you want to sign there? But he's not going to pull a Garrett Cole and tell people that he's leaving so that you can hate him for his last 2 years.
Oh yeah.
But
No, I think he's a guy with a lot of integrity. I mean, served in the military. I mean, he's a dude that really has his head on straight, and he's a total pro.
for sure.
It's just a shame that they've got a guy who's not a total pro, building that roster and developing that farm system. I mean, it's just they're terrible.
I don't think he'll be doing the next draft. From everything I'm hearing, I really don't think he'll be the one.
It's coming up in a couple of weeks, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think either A, he'll keep his job because Nutting's kind of a giant wimp,
Cheapskate.
and he just moves people within the departments without necessarily firing anybody. But I don't think he'll be the one pulling the trigger on who to pick. I mean, he's shown that he can't. Look at the roster.
Yeah, I mean, you're drafting that high for that long, and you still can't put together an effective roster.
It's amazing.
And you've got an owner who said, "Hey, find me free agents. I'll spend whatever it takes." It never happens.
Yeah. They have won 3 out of their last 4, which is amazing. They're still 16 games under 500, which is embarrassing. It's not even June 1st. But they kind of let this go on longer than it maybe had to. No accountability, no outrage from ownership, which you would think would be a thing. But
yeah,
here we are.
Well, I know the fans are not happy.
No, and they're not coming out to an amazing ballpark to support a longtime traditional team. I mean, that the Pirates, I saw today little skits popping up about the 71 World Series and watching guys like Clemente. They have an amazing tradition, and they've really shit all over it since the 90s. Frankly.
It's a shame.
Most definitely. But we're hoping for better for the Buccos, especially Skeens. And for the record, they have 4 starting pitchers that ERAs in the top 15. That team should have more than 18 wins with that kind of pitching.
It really should. You just need to play solid baseball and, have a couple of guys that can hit.
And pay them, please. There's guys out there you can pay. That's how this league works. You pay, and then they come and they knock the stuffing out of the ball. That's what you do. It's a thing.
Yeah. I mean, the word around baseball is the other GMs love dealing with Cherington because he's such a dupe.
Yeah, he's the worst. Before we jump to that happy ending, I did want to talk real quick, and I know we're running out of time here, but I had some stuff on the Voice of America. It's something we had talked about before, and I'll be really brief about it because it's disappointing to me. But here's Trump's pick for Voice of America. We talked about an injunction that was going to put people back to work. The Voice of America is broadcast in 49 languages to roughly 360 million people around the world. A lot of authoritarian states get straight poop from us through VOA. Carrie Lake, out of the 1,300 people, Carrie Lake brought back 30. They have 30 people. They're all from, what is it, Newsmax or One America?
Oh, yeah. The ones that make Fox look like actual journalists.
Correct. They're not. It's now, instead of 49 languages, they put it in 4 languages. And it was a 24/7, like a real news division that broadcasts. Now it's 5 minutes a day, 5 days a week. Of that 1,300 people, 584 have been told that they are terminated. You are not coming back. And they feel like the feelings within that place, it's like everything's about, they said it was a grim and confusing atmosphere, but they feel like it's emotional terrorism just to ensure obedience. So it starts at the top with this guy. He gets her involved, and
election loser.
But she went to the courts how many times, Billy? Huh?
And lost every time. I mean, Carrie Lake is a joke.
She is, but she's a woman after his heart because she she pushes back against the election is that she loses, just like he did.
Mm-hmm.
So I found that very disheartening because they don't even broadcast in Russia in Russian languages to people that are in the Baltic states around them. And it's, again, it all comes back to like Trump. Why would that be? Why would that be a thing that you don't want to educate these people? Why?
Yeah. Well,
And why are you so in bed with Russia? That's so weird.
Yeah. What's Putin have on you?
What doesn't he have on him, huh? I mean, he got him married, didn't he?
Yeah. Seriously. Trump's just a lackey.
He's a bit of a buffoon, and people seem to think that's okay, which,
well, we don't.
Whatever. I don't at all. It's very upsetting. Anyway, I just wanted the update on Voice of America because I was excited. It was a happy ending to bring that station back. And now it's 30 people and it's a 5-minute blurb, which maybe that's good for America, but I don't know that that's great for the world.
It's not good for anybody.
Okay, it's not good for us either.
Except Trump. And that 5-minute blurb is probably about Hail Trump.
Yeah, really.
Big doings in Alcatraz. New plane for Trump.
Trump's drive. That thing was so far. Whoa.
Another club championship.
I know, right?
He shot an 18.
So crazy, man.
That first person ever. 18 straight holes in one.
Wow, how did he do it?
Greatest.
He didn't. Actually, he didn't do it.
Yeah, no. Nothing he really thinks is truth is truth.
So we did have a pirate minute. Do you have anything on the happy ending to the right?
Well, the sun's coming out. It's a holiday weekend. We're going to go to a party tomorrow. So that's pretty good. That's pretty happy.
It's not bad. I'm taking the happiness for myself. I'm not overscheduled this weekend, which is kind of nice. I don't have hockey tomorrow morning. I don't have hockey on Monday, which is a holiday. And maybe I'll get to recharge and feel better about this mess that we're swimming in. I don't know.
That would be nice. Well, you know what? I'd settle for just recharging.
All right, because I get to swim in this mess anyway, I guess.
Yeah.
It's all right. Well, as always, I appreciate you letting me vent some of this stuff out, and I am looking forward to it. The sun's out here at least, so maybe it's time for me to go.
Okay. Come sit by the
pool.
All
right, buddy. I'm sorry?
Come sit by the pool. It's nice.
If it were heated, I might think about it, okay?
Well, the sun's out.
Whatever. That's not warming the water.
It wasn't that cold.
Well, I appreciate it. If I want to do a cold dunk, I'll be over.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'll talk at you later.
All right, buddy. Nice job.
All right. You too. You have a good day.
All right. You too.
All right. I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
All right. See ya.